Hello, welcome to Hidden Sparks. My name is Ambassador Jake Epelle, and on Hidden Sparks, we look at very ordinary people who have made extraordinary giant stride. This is one podcast that will inspire you. And today, we are going royal. We have a very revered royal father, one who oversees a very historic kingdom. And I'm talking about the Opobo Kingdom, of which I am a proud son of Opobo, and in fact, the title holder. But I'm sitting with someone who has a bigger title and who has been in leadership all his life. I don't have what it takes to reel out the titles and the full complement of the king. So let me invite the king to please give us the full complement of your title, including your national title.
My name is King Dr. Dandeson Douglas Jaja, Jackie the Fifth, DSSRS, CFR, Treaty King, Natural Ruler, and Amanyanabo of Opobo.
Well, wow. At your age, you still have a very sound mind. You are going to be 83 or more than 83 years, and yet you have a very sound mind. And I want to say that you don't even use glasses. You know, what do you do to keep yourself so agile, whether it's mental or physical? You still play golf.
Oh, yes.
So tell us, what do you do? What's your daily routine?
I lead a simple life. And I don't like to clutter my system with poison. So I avoid those poisonous drinks like whiskey and all those things. I occasionally take champagne and good red wine, and that's all, and water.
And you rest well.
And rest well. That's all.
Well,
I exercise.
I've tested the Queen's food, and everything seems to be very natural. Will you attribute it to your health, how healthy you're looking?
Well, that could be one of it. But I think that God's gift attribute could be one of those attributes. Yes.
King, talk to us about, can you remember the very day maybe you were told when you were born? Can you remember any significant event that associated your birth that you can remember today?
I think I was told, and I was not there, that when I was born, a man picked up his gun and shot the king's cow.
Wow.
It's a celebration. And everybody shared in it.
Wow, that's significant. And you still remember till date. Okay, so tell us about, the trajectory of how you came to the throne. You were obviously well-schooled, and you were in England at the time that you lost your father. How did you receive the news?
It came quite suddenly, really. I had two cablegrams. One was saying that I should come back quickly. My father was ill. The other said he had died. And I was expected to come home quickly. So I got my things together. I was working with Barclays Bank, bank at that time in Hull. So I just picked up my things and left for home. And that was it. And from there on, I got into these traditional things. Yes.
Well, it's interesting to note that your journey, even your trajectory to becoming king, wasn't an easy one. I mean, there were issues that you had to go through, including how long did it take you to ascend the throne, even when you have been given the throne?
Well, I got installed the Amanyanabo of Opobo to take over from my father in 1980. And by the following year, 1981, on 6th of January, we were in court to contest the kingship of Opobo. And thereon it took us 23 years to settle the matter. So for the first time, I was moving within the corridors of the courts, from High Court to Court of Appeal in Port Harcourt and to the Supreme Court in Abuja here for 23 years.
Wow. So the first High Court case, did you win that?
Well, no, we lost. We lost, and what was funny is that we lost, even though we had one of the best lawyers in Nigeria at that time, Chief G.C. Amonyuke. And we had so many of them who were senior advocates of Nigeria. Chief G.C. Amonyuke was the Queen's Counsel.
Yes, I met him.
Yes.
Yes.
Then we had Akbambo.
Again, that's my friend too.
Yes.
Was my friend. He's late.
We had Philip Umadi.
Look at that.
So these are very senior lawyers at that time. And for a man who had not been to court before to brief these big lawyers, it was a tough thing going. But God gave me the strength, you know. So we moved from one court to the other. We lost in the court of the first court, court of first instance, and then we also lost in the court of appeal. So it was a kind of concurrent judgment, they call it. And so we said, no, we'll get on to the last stage, that's going to the Supreme Court. So we went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court justices gave us a unanimous decision in May 2003. Yes, May 2003.
You got the final judgment.
Of May, really.
Yeah, Your Majesty, can you remember what's the bone of contention? What was the issue?
Well, you see, the plaintiffs really were saying that there should be rotational rulership in Opobo. And they also came up with so many reasons for that. Also put forward what the document they called the minimum agreement, which I felt was a bogus document. But I'm always very detailed. So I had to make sure that I, had to dig deep to find out exactly whether this document was bogus or it was not. So I had to go to see the late Professor Kenneth Dike. Yes, he wrote the first seminal work on the history of Niger Delta, which he published in 1956. And the book was The Trade and Politics in Niger Delta. Yes, covering 1830 to 1885. Yes, so part of that book had a portion on King Jaja, and quoted this book as a constitution of Opobo. So I wanted to see him. So I had to go to Enugu when he was provost of Enugu Technical University.
Okay.
Yes. So
IMT.
Yes. I went there twice. He told me that, he got it from Opobo, but he didn't have the original. Of course, the Supreme Court justices threw it out, as a bogus document. And so, so many other things, contesting the fourth defendant's paternity, that's my own paternity, and all that. So, luckily for us, every of the things that they deposed, they didn't quite get it. So we were given a unanimous decision by all the 5 justices of the Supreme Court. Yes. Yeah. But what is intriguing about the whole thing is that we all fought in principle. We did not take the matter as if it was a do or die affair. Because you find a scenario which was quite unusual. The whole man would go to court on opposing positions, but they'll go in the same vehicle to court, come back in the same vehicle, go to the bar and drink together and enjoy themselves,
Your Majesty, you told that story when you gave your speech as a CBA bar, where both those who are the plaintiff and the respondents, everybody will come, get into the bar and all that. But the important thing is the fact that in spite of this court case, there was no civil issue in Opobo. Even though at the time there was no leader per se. What is it that is in Opobo man that makes them very civil?
I think, without being modest, that's the uniqueness of the Opobo man. We have this thing about us that there is interconnectivity in terms of marriage, in terms of relationship and filial connections here and there. So you never see an Opobo man, raise, a machete on the other. It's because you may be killing your brother. So the issue was, like I said before, was in principle. And I did not, for once, begrudge anyone who went to court because they had a right to do that. So it was easy for us to come back because at the end of the case in May 2003, all the 2 parties came together and then planned the coronation of their king. And that was it. And everybody partook in the coronation exercise, which shows that same uniqueness of the Opobo man.
Your Majesty, very interesting because, of course, the Opobo system, traditional system, is completely different from the normal traditional system. For instance, I know that as an Opobo man, I cannot come home with a chieftaincy title and be called a chief in Opobo. The title has to come from you. Now, where I'm going...
We don't even offer honorary chieftaincies to anybody in Opobo.
And you're very strict about it.
Oh, yes.
Because people like us probably wouldn't have merited it, but you insisted. You have your way.
What you had was not a chieftaincy title. What you had was
a title,
a traditional title.
What's the difference, Your Majesty?
The difference is that in the Opobo system, chiefs are tied to their houses. Every chief of Opobo must superintend
over his own house, compound.
And so, if you made a chief without a title, without a house, how do we take it? So it's out of our system. It's not only in Opobo, Body to our sister
Yes.
kingdom,
Yes.
part of the Ibane clan,
Yeah.
we practices the same
The
thing.
same thing.
They know Boneke can offer a chieftaincy title to anybody from outside. It's
Well,
never done.
Your Majesty, now the reason why I'm asking this is I wanted to mirror the kind of person that you are, because the very compound that you had to go to this court for 23 years is the Peter side. But I've seen in the list of title holders given by you at your own discretion, the grandchildren of the Peter side, Professor Yala Peter side, Sodi Peter side. In fact, this is one Burusu, like they said, one family. What kind of a man are you that you can appoint even the people that would have been seen as your enemies?
You see,
in your cabinet?
I said it earlier that there was nothing like enmity about what happened in court. It was all a matter of principle. People were defending their rights, what they thought was their right. We had a third person, that is the court, to decide whether what they thought was their right was indeed their right.
Right.
So that's it. So every Opobo man who is entitled must have it, must be honored. Once you bring in something, once you add to the visibility of this kingdom, you merit to be honored,
Recognized,
and recognized, and you are recognized. We don't have any segregation or kind of division about that. Or we're all in one, that this is something that should be done to encourage people to make sure that others emulate them.
Well, I can attest to that, Your Majesty, because I mean, by all means, I wouldn't have been qualified, because I'm not even among
You're
the
bringing
rich.
so much to Opobo.
I'm not among the rich. All right, but let's talk about the very. Go ahead.
Wealth has nothing to do with it. After all, you saw that a 17-year-old boy who is an exponent of Opobo drumming and was honored.
Yes. I mean, that's a very, very interesting story.
He didn't have any money.
I saw him crying and saying, "Look, who am I to be given this opportunity?"
Oh, yes. So
and then you're also a respecter of women. My younger sister, Evelyn, is also a Malolo, which is very commendable. Is that a way of encouraging the youth?
It's a way of bringing in, encouraging both the young and the old to bring something to the table that we need, concerted effort by everybody to put Opobo up there in the map. So you can see that these traditional titles and honors are not being done for nothing.
Exactly.
Those who merit it get it.
So it's not a question. Nobody can buy you out. Nobody can buy your decision.
It's not for sale.
Absolutely your prerogative to say this person qualifies.
Oh yes, with the Council of Alapu, the chiefs, they must have a say in it.
Your Majesty, let's talk about the rich culture of Opobo Kingdom. And you're a promoter of culture of the Opobo Kingdom. Talk to us. I think maybe we should start from King Jaja. Give me a 2-minute story about this revered great-great-granddad of yours. The King Jaja of Opobo is someone that is studied in history and all that. Talk to us about who is King Jaja, what is King Jaja, and what happened to King Jaja.
King Jaja of Opobo, call him an enigma. Call him a man who came 100 years before his time, because he was very forward-looking. He projected to the future and made sure that he did not want to stay on in Bonny when the Bonny would have eclipsed his foresightedness and would have also not given him the room to really emerge. Now his history is being read everywhere, like you said before now. He grew up from a princely family he was born in Umudroha.
That's Imo State, right?
In Imo State, yes. And from what we heard of history, his father's name was Okoro Zurumba. Yeah. They kidnapped him, as history would say, and sold
Him into
to
slavery.
Arrow, but he was too small, a fledgling 10-year-old child, So by dint of hard work, stroke of luck, he got into Bonny. He was, handed over to a princely family in Bonny, and from there, with his God-given talent
and business acumen.
and business acumen, he became quite larger than life. At a point, he was called upon to lead one of the families of the sons of King Perekule. That's the Anipepu family. He was asked to lead it. But that house was riddled in debt, which King Jaja had to redeem the house, before ascending the throne or taking it over completely. So that was it. So when it was time for him to leave, he left with all the group of people, who had who believed in him and his business acumen, and who knew that they were going, into prosperity by following him. So they followed him, and all of them came together and then made the people what it was.
Sorry to butt in, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, was it a peaceful exit, or was there any problem?
It was not a peaceful exit. To elude Bonny, they had to go into a kind of 2 or 3 days civil war, really, which would have started on the 13th of September 1869.
But Your Majesty, you have an incredible mind.
We have started on the 12th. That was on Sunday, the 12th of September, 1869. But they had to start the war on the 13th, which was a Monday. The opponents refused to fight on that day. That is the Fuba Manila people groups. Yeah, they refused.
Was it because it was Sunday?
No, it was Sunday, yes, because they had converted to Christianity.
Okay.
So they didn't want to fight on that day. So rather they fought on the following day, which was on a Monday. And by the second day, King Jaja actually withdrew and asked the British Council to intervene, that he had lost so much. Because he lost so much of his armor during the fire breakout before the war, so he tactically withdrew. And nobody knew that that tactical withdrawal was to make way for him to completely leave Bonny. Yeah. So on the 29th of October, 1869, precisely, he moved out with his people.
And the journey to finding Opobo
on the journey to finding Opobo, yes.
Yeah.
So that was it. So they moved from place to place until they got to Okoro. where they settled for a time, before, and Koro afforded them time to really prepare for the permanent site. And then, so from there, after when they were ready, they all moved into Opobo on the 25th of December, 1870.
That's on the Christmas day.
That's on the Christmas day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So at that point, King Jaja began to reign over a small island with a group of people.
Yeah.
Not necessarily with all the wealth he had in Bonny.
No.
So he had to start afresh.
Well,
talk to me about his business acumen. How did he navigate through?
Well, I think from what we read, he was an astute businessman, and the Super Cargos believed in him because he never failed to pay when it was due. So, two principal merchants really encouraged him to move. One was a man called the Caddy, Charles the Caddy. The other one was another man called Makichin, from I think he was from Scotland. So two of them, encouraged him to move. And then when they moved, they also moved with him and started the trade in the hinterland. But with the one thing about that, the position of Opobo was that it afforded King Jaja, untrammeled access into the hinterland, and to the exclusion of his opponents. So you couldn't come in through Idalimba. You couldn't also come in through Koro. So if you did, his men were always there, and you had to go through this Imo River to these markets in Azubidi, Azuogu, in the Biblion territories and all that. So these were all his markets, and so you couldn't come in.
So Your Majesty, he literally blocked the flow of trade to the body. So technically, he was also still fighting them. So so they couldn't make now. As we begin to round up, Your Majesty, talk to us about the exit of King Jaja. What really happened? The British took him out of his territory, and he never came back. What really happened?
What happened was not that he was really tricked out. No. King Jaja left Opobo because of his belief in sacrifice. He sacrificed himself that Opobo might live. Because Johnston, the acting or assistant consul then threatened that if he did not live with them, that they were going to bombard Opobo and nobody would leave. And as a matter of fact, to make sure, he carried out his threat, he had guns of British, big ships, all trained on Opobo. They're ready to shoot.
Your Majesty, this is very interesting. I mean, I'm an Opobo man. The history has been sort of or sort of changed, because the impression was that he was tricked into the
No, he was
ship,
not tricked.
And then he had to be...
No, as a matter of fact, before he even went to the ship, HMS Pioneer, he told Johnston to bring a British merchant, a British soldier or somebody to stay in Opobo as a hostage to guarantee his return. But This British fellow wrote back to King Jaja and gave him his word. And King Jaja had so long believed in the British man's
Being honest.
honesty and believed him. That was it. So you cannot say he was strict.
Oh.
He wrote a letter, which I think I have a copy of that letter. He said, I give you my word that no harm will come to you. He said, I give you my word. That's the text of the letter. I give you my word. So he believed him. And when he got into the ship, HMS Pioneer, they cordoned him off and asked his chiefs to leave. When the chiefs wanted to resist, he ordered them to go back.
So it wasn't like he was tricked into and the ship started
he
selling and he didn't know.
He anticipated what happened. That was why he needed the hostage. Yes.
And then where was he taken to?
He was taken to Ghana, the Gold Coast. That's it, as it was called then. There was this mock-up, this trial, in which the British were the accusers, they were the prosecutors, they were also the judge.
Okay, so from Ghana to...
From Ghana, he was
Barbados.
was sent 5 years exile. They never wanted to keep him anywhere around Africa because they were afraid his influence would also interfere with their trade, So they had to take him to an area with the kind of environment that he used to. That was taking him to the West Indies.
Are you in touch with the government of West Indies? Is there any kind of reverse ceremony that associates with the presence of King Jaja? Is that historic for them?
Yes. King Jaja made an impact when he was in Barbados, to the fact that they waxed a record in his name over his interest in a woman called Becky. Yes. She was a very interesting song.
Oh, there is a King Jaja reggae song.
Oh, yes.
Oh, interesting. Now, as we round up, Your Majesty, talk to us about the culture and the wartime, the regatta. Talk to us. These are very rich cultural.
From the 24th of December to 31st of January were regarded as period for
festivities,
traditional dances, and all sorts of cultural activities in Opobo. Up to today, we start our activities from 24th of December, when we hoist our flags, and traditionally recently we have the Christmas tree, which we light on the 24th, of December. Right from then, we have a cultural calendar, really, which we follow, which leads us to second week or third week in January of the following year. So within this time, you have too many activities.
The most revered is water. What's the history of water?
Water. So many people have come up with so many slants of how Watam came to Pogo. But we know that Watam came from Ndoki territory. Well, some said it's from a place called Majekri. Yes. So from then, the Watam they brought at that time is no more the brand of Watam that we have today. This what we have in Opobo and
it's modernized.
Is modernized, and is something that you can't describe until you come in to see it on the 1st of January.
Your Majesty,
Yeah.
did you ever play the water?
Oh, yes, I did. I did very, very much. As a matter of fact, when I traveled in 1978 to start my course in Britain, in Hull.
Mm-hmm.
That year, because I couldn't be there to dance my water, I was a member of a Just Left movement.
Okay.
I had to go with my uniform.
Really?
Yes.
So is that why your Jerusalem is known as the Amanyanabo?
Well, that is not.
Jerusalem
It's
Amanyanabo?
not. They didn't start today. It's not in my time they started that song.
Oh, really?
So it was in my father's time.
So was your father a member of
No. He had his own group called the Quem group.
Okay, Your Majesty, your final take. Look into the camera and talk to your kingdom, talk to the country. What legacy would you want to be remembered for? What would you be remembered for?
The issue of legacy is something that quite difficult to define. But
you're involved in a lot of humanitarian efforts.
Well, yes, we are. Remembered for being a simple, natural ruler.
You are.
Who is interested in seeing in the improvement of life of our people and people generally wherever they are, to see people draw closer to God Almighty, because that is the beginning and end of our being. So this is all. I don't think I can ascribe or try to ascribe anything to myself as a matter of success that I have achieved or did not achieve. I like people, the posterity to judge.
Your Majesty, that reminds me of the fact that I saw not too many traditional rulers, but you're one of those who stood up on the 2nd of January and rededicated your kingdom to God Almighty.
Yes.
So you're a man of deep faith.
Well,
how do you mix that with tradition?
Well, I think that Jesus Christ said he did not come to destroy the tradition of the people, but to emphasize it. So, in that wise, you see that you pick those things that make life better for your people and emphasize it.
So you don't make sacrifices, you don't do libation. Yeah,
you do libation. Libation is in the Bible. It depends on what you say. Yes. The sacrifice, that is one. That is the one I don't think,
your kingdom, you don't practice that.
No, I don't. So, I do those things that I think will bring glory to God and also will improve mankind.
Well, Your Majesty, thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of Hidden Spots. And obviously, there are things you have said and the situation that you have gone through, the personal experiences that have sparked up some changes in everyone who is watching us. I want to thank you. And to also show my gratitude that being in your presence, I'm not supposed to wear a hat. This is that's one excuse that I got. Thank you.
This is special case.
Thank you, Your Majesty. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, guys.